Hey guys, welcome to the Premier League podcast. I'm your host, Raheem, and I'm joined here with my two friends, Z and Jake. How you guys doing?
Good as always, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Jake?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. All good.
All good. Ready for another exciting episode, yeah?
Always.
Always. Well, I thought we would, there's a bunch of topics we're going to talk about today, but I thought we'd start with the Champions League because obviously it just kicked off last week and all the English teams are in it. I know this is a Premier League podcast, but the Premier League teams are in the Champions League, so I'm using that as an excuse to talk about it. Why not? But yeah, no, we've got all the top English teams in it: United, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, and they all had a good start apart from Manchester United. I don't know. Let's not start with my team. Jake, go on, you go. Talk about Chelsea.
Oh, defending champions, isn't it? We do champions things. Grind out a win against Zenit. Big Rom again, just being the man.
I think Rudiger was amazing in that game. Like I only saw the highlights, but from the highlights, he looked really good.
He done that. He turned like that prime Zuma like a couple of years ago against Ajax on some mad run, and then absolutely fluffed it right at the end.
Yeah, I saw that. But he made some really good clearances as well.
Yeah. He's a decent defender. Like he kind of got froze out a lot by Frank Lampard because like some relatively costly mistakes, and then obviously with Lampard going and Tuchel coming in, he's kind of reformed him a little bit. It's kind of like Conte with David Luiz when they brought him back in, because David Luiz was very error prone, and somehow we managed to convince PSG to buy him for 50 mil, and then we bought him back, and then he just kind of looked like a completely different player.
I think Tuchel's done a very good job with him. Yeah, he definitely looks a lot better than what I remember when he was with Frank. But I mean, Chelsea, they're looking the way that Tuchel. I mean, we've said this before, but the way that Tuchel has Chelsea, they're very structured and they're very difficult to beat. I think you guys do have a good chance of going far in this competition once again. You know,
I'm just like I know we're not like I'm fucking gassed. I love it.
I'm not going to get you too gassed. All right. Well, who's Chelsea's next game in the Champions League? Do you know?
Oh, we're going to Juventus.
Oh,
a Ronaldo-less Juventus who are sitting 16th in Serie A.
Exactly. They've got like, was it 1 point out of 9 in their first few games?
Yeah.
I saw things online about Ronaldo bringing Juventus down and that they'll be better without him, and he's gone and they've got 1 point in 9. So I don't know about that. We'll have to see how it goes. But I think Chelsea will beat Juventus, especially with the way that they are at the moment. Although that guy Chiesa is that from the Euros, he's at Juventus at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
He just joined.
Yeah, I think so. Or he's been there for a while.
He's been there for a couple of seasons. He's out at the moment though. I think he's got a slight injury. Obviously, I follow this. They're playing Milan right now, who obviously my Italian team. But yeah, Chiesa is amazing. But fortunately for Milan, he's I don't think he's in the game today, but I haven't checked if he was on the team sheet. So that would help, or hurt Juve's chances for sure. Help Chelsea out.
Well, talking about AC Milan being your other team, it must have been pretty difficult for you watching AC Milan versus Liverpool.
To be fair,
both teams that
they've only played 3 times and they've never had a remotely bad game. Like you got the Istanbul final. You got the Porto final, I think it was 2 years later. And then you've got this game. It's the first time they've played since then, so like 14 years. And it genuinely, if you guys watch the game or not, like amazing game. I don't think anybody came out of that game looking bad. Not the goalkeepers, not the defenders. Like Liverpool started off and it was just like blitzkrieg, man. Like 21 minutes in, they had 13 shots. Milan had 0.
Yeah.
And they just weathered that storm. They did get the early goal through Trent, which ended up going down as an own goal. But yeah, and then Liverpool kind of like had to step off the gas a little bit. You can't press that long or that hard for that long, and eventually they slowed down. And that's when Milan got them on the counter right at the end of the half. 2 brilliant goals, And then
Yeah,
second
quick
half,
succession, those
you
two.
got that restart. Yeah, exactly. I mean, great football.
Mm,
They usually tend to play it down the left with like Teo. Rafael had a good game. Rebic was clinical, more clinical than he tends to be as well. But that midfield duo of Benacer and Kessie as well. I remember talking about Kessie last time. I think he had a rough start to the game, but he got better as it went on. But Liverpool, man, they were just looked amazing. Like after the
yeah,
break, especially after the break, they came back. Quick fire goal from Salah,
yeah.
and then once again put on the pressure. Milan tried to hit them on the counter, had a few chances, but defensively from that point on, Liverpool looked really solid. Henderson got his goal, which is a great strike. Like I was surprised by that. He doesn't score often,
That
but
was great goal from
yeah,
Henderson.
from then it just looked like it was control the game out. Had a few more chances after that, but they were just a bit more reserved. Having learnt their lesson that Milan can catch them at any time. So overall, strong Liverpool performance. Good mentality to come back. Pretty resolute. But like I said, Milan don't come out of that like ashamed or anything. They went up against one of the strongest teams in Europe, and having not played in Europe for like 8 years, that was
Mm,
a really solid performance. And they've got a really young
I agree.
core. And they're in the group of death. Like it couldn't have been a sort of like trial by fire any harder way. But yeah, I mean, great game. Always seems to be a great game. And now I think Liverpool against Porto next. Porto,
Right,
I think Liverpool should win. Porto was they're second, if I remember correctly, in the Portuguese league. Benfica ahead of them, but
right,
they had
yeah.
like an early draw or an early loss, so they're only a couple of points behind. But they won their last game 5-0. So like Luis Diaz scored two. I remember I saw the highlights, so he should be the guy that Liverpool need to watch out for. But with Van Dijk, it just feels so much more reassured at the back. Trent had an amazing game. Robertson an amazing game. Matip was underrated as hell. Like,
You know what? I have to say, Matt has been doing such a good job since
phew,
he's like
man,
come in. I kept thinking to myself, why is he playing Matip instead of Konate or Gomez? And
yeah,
like
but
at the beginning of the season, but like since then, like he's shown why he's been played. He's playing
as
really
long as
well.
Matip can stay healthy, man, like that dude's like so calm and relaxed on the ball. It's kind of like having another Fabinho almost. And Fabinho's another player that kind of goes under the radar sometimes, but
Oh, I
they both
rate
had like
Fabinho.
both had fantastic games. But yeah, Matip was yeah. I mean, probably better than Van Dijk that game to be honest. But Van Dijk was still his like reassured self, always solid, never makes any major mistakes. So I think Liverpool's next game against Porto should be good. I expect them to win, but
Yep.
we'll see if Porto throw any surprises. And obviously, Atletico Madrid versus Milan. That is such a crazy
Oh.
group, man. I can't believe you two teams lucked out with the bullshit that came your
Hey,
way.
look, man.
It's like,
United gets so many tough groups. Yeah, we always get drawn against a hard team. So for once, I'm gonna take the win of getting a easy group. And saying that, we still lost our game anyway. So
yeah. Speaking of Raheem, break that down for us. How did
Yeah.
these young boys
wait,
beat
we're
these
done with
old
Liverpool
men?
already.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well.
Straightforward dubs for both of us, man.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna say before we move on, I agree with everything you said. I think Liverpool look very strong again. I do actually, as a United fan, I do worry seeing Liverpool that good because and the thing is, we'll talk about the Premier League in a minute, but they rotated in the Premier League and they rotated between the Premier League and the Champions League, which is something we said that Liverpool don't have the depth to do potentially, or at least some of the people have said that in the past. But yet they've done it and won both games. So if they can continue that all season and keep at this high level, I worry. I worry as a United fan. I'm not gonna lie. But no, it was good. It was a good game. It was a very entertaining game, end to end stuff.
It was a shame Wan-Bissaka got sent off. It was a clear red, but
Yeah.
up to that point,
Well,
United did pretty good.
talking about United, yeah. If we move on to that, I
Oh,
think
naturally.
naturally,
Naturally.
I'm gonna say, look, I'm not gonna lose my head like I've seen a lot of people get really upset about that result and go into full meltdown mode. And I think it's a bit premature to be getting that upset. Obviously, losing to young boys is never great. I feel like if we stayed at 11 men, we would have won that game. Definitely, it was definitely a red card. But I feel like if we stayed at 11 men, we would have won that game. But I'm not using that as an excuse because despite that, we should still be beating young boys with the squad that we have with 10 men. And to be honest, for me, the reason we lost that game comes down to the manager. You know, Ollie was making a lot of substitutions, and to me, a lot of the times it just seemed like he was making it up as he goes along with those subs. The first one made sense to me. You know, take off Sancho, who wasn't having his best game, I must say, and put on Delo, so it replaces Wan-Bissaka not being there, and you're back to your back four and whatnot. But then that's just before halftime. After halftime, he makes another sub straight away, brings Varane on for who's he brought him on for? He brought Varane on for Donny van de Beek, who I must say was actually having a decent game. I think Donny was having a decent game, and to see him coming off after all of the controversy and drama about him getting game time and whatnot, it was a bit sad to see. I think Donny is. I think he's not going to make it at United. Not by his fault, but if we keep seeing things like that, I'm not too confident. But he comes off, and Varane comes on. We go to a back five, and then he plays some more of the game. And on the 72nd minute, he takes off Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes, which I guess if you're trying to save Ronaldo's legs, I get it. Bruno, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't have taken both of those off. Even if you're going to take off one of them, maybe take off Ronaldo because I guess he's getting old and you think let's save him for the weekend. But Bruno runs around a lot, and we need that, and he can create something out of nothing. So taking those two off was the wrong decision for me. But he took both of those off and put Matic and Lingard on. I didn't quite understand that change. And then the last change he made was Martial for Fred. Fred came off, Martial came on. And I just didn't quite understand what he was trying to do with those subs. So, we end up conceding the late goal with Jesse Lingard's back pass.
Banging assist though, not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
That J-Lings form continues.
It was a great, it was a
like J-Lings.
It was a great assist from Jesse Lingard, I must admit. But look, that happens in football. I'm not even going to blame Jesse.
That was just a lapse. That was just a lapse in concentration.
Yeah. It was.
He's a young lad. They'll learn from it.
A lot of young potential with him,
Fresh out of the training academy.
Exactly. Nah, but I mean, I'm not going to lose my mind over it. But at the end of the day, I think Ollie bottled it there. He should have. For me, he should have stuck to the back four and tried to play possession based. With the players that he had, he has enough players there to keep possession. But he took all the ballers off and put on other people, and then so I'm like, okay, he's going to try and weather it out. If he's going to weather it out, stick to that scenario. But then he takes Fred off, so I'm like, but isn't that the person you'd want to keep in if you're trying to do ultra defense for the rest of the game? And brings on Martial. I don't quite understand what he was aiming for with that. But anyway, for me, he bottled it with the subs. He panics a bit, and I don't know. Hopefully, he learns from it. But at the end of the day, we're not going to go down to 10 men every game. Hopefully, we just have to see how we go in the next few games. I'm still confident that we'll top that group. So
I think it's fair. It's just one game. It's just the impetus is now on United to not drop anything else. They can't really afford to make any more mistakes. I'm sure exactly. Ronaldo will probably be chewing out everybody. It's his competition. He doesn't want to. He wants to make it far. He wants to add to that record. But the team as a whole, I mean, they looked good, until the red card, and then it was just a case of cowardly, essentially just playing not to lose.
Pretty much.
Which is understandable. You're a man down, but how many times have we seen? We just saw Chelsea a couple of weeks ago hold out, with
Liverpool,
a man down.
Yeah.
So exactly.
But that was the thing for me, Z. We just saw a couple of weeks ago Chelsea hold out Liverpool, one of the best teams in the world right now, with 10 men. And then you got United, who have some of the best players in their team, definitely. And we can't hold out against young boys who... I mean, no disrespect to young boys, but obviously the quality of the two teams, there's a vast difference in quality between the two teams. So, if Chelsea can hold out against Liverpool, why can't we hold out against young boys?
Haven't got Thomas Tuchel.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I had to get it in there.
Defenders and midfielders as well, so no, it shouldn't be an excuse, but Ollie kind of needs to learn from it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Speaking
definitely,
of Ollie,
definitely.
and United. Obviously, we've got the Prem as well. We've got all the week's games wrapped up.
Yep.
Do you want to
It's
start with
good.
the United game?
Yeah, since we're on United, a bit more of a positive, tone now. No,
Yep.
it was good. It was a good game, I think. I don't know. You guys watched? Did you watch that game?
I
No,
got it from the
no, I
second
missed that
half.
one. I've been awful
Yeah,
watching the games this week. I've missed them all.
yeah, you was out, Jake. You was out
So
having
bad.
fun. You can't do that.
Oh,
No.
sorry, I forgot. Yeah, COVID, didn't it? I can't have fun. Not allowed.
No, but yeah, I know. See, you caught the second half.
Caught the second half. I did catch the first half highlights, but I remember you saying there was like an appeal in the first half, so I didn't see that. But
I don't
I'll
remember
let you start.
when the other appeal was. All I know is there was three attempts. There was three times when Ronaldo went down in the box. Two of the times for me, I'd expect him to get at least one of those as a penalties. The other one was definitely not anything in my opinion. But out of those two, I mean, we'll go straight into the VR decisions. I'm happy with the game. I'm happy with the game, and I don't want to be the someone that's moaning about VR decisions when you win the game. But I do think it's a bit odd because Southampton versus Man City. I don't know if any of you guys saw highlights from that game, but Southampton should have had a penalty in that game for me. And I don't know how VAR.
Oh, that was 100%.
Yeah,
100% penalty.
and I don't know how VAR
horrific.
didn't give that.
Because I think Sterling had an appeal late on, but that was fine. But yeah, the Carl Walker one.
That
the weird
one.
thing is they overturned it. Like
That's what I'm saying.
that's the thing I don't get.
Is
So
that a clear and obvious area?
Because he doesn't get the ball.
He doesn't.
Clatters straight into him,
Right.
and he just simply collides with him. And I'm like, he's the last guy as well.
Yeah.
So that didn't make any sense. And obviously, it sends all conspiracy theorists out, like, "Oh, oil money be talking, and keeping him on the pitch." But like, I agree. That was 100% a red. It should have been a penalty.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like,
but
I know
the Ronaldo ones, I think with those with the two that I'm talking about specifically, obviously he has the ball, he tries to knock it past the player. When a West Ham defender sticks his leg out and for like you hit into their leg and go over their leg, in my opinion, like the players shouldn't have to be moving out of the way of the leg. You shouldn't be sticking your leg out unless you're going to win the ball inside the box because it's reckless defending. So in my opinion, if you don't touch the ball and you get the man, then that's a penalty for me. And two times there was two times when they played Ronaldo and not the ball, and he went down, and none of those were given. And I expect at least one. Do you know what I mean? And so for me, those were the wrong decisions. And to be fair, what makes it even worse is the fact that VAR didn't even really like send him to the screen to have a look at himself or anything like that. Which, in my opinion, at least do that.
That's sus. That's mega sus as well. Like, so obviously, like after the game, you thought there should have been 2 penalties. Originally, I thought neither of them should have been penalties, but like, I didn't have a chance to rewatch anything because it was like on TV. I mean, to be fair, I could have paused it, but I was just like, oh, the highlight will come up on Reddit, and then like 20 minutes later, it wasn't there. I was like, man, fuck's sakes, Reddit, what are you doing? Where's PSV Academy when I need him? But looking back, so originally I thought the first one from, I think Soufal sticks his leg out, right?
Sticks his leg out, yeah.
Ronaldo collides with him and he goes down. Originally, I thought that it's definitely a foul. I'm not going to dispute that. It's a foul from Soufal. But I didn't think... It was like 50-50. I was like, if the ref gives it, fair enough. And then if he goes to review it and upholds it, it's cool. If he doesn't give it, reviews it, and upholds the same decision, I think it's cool as well. I think it's 50-50, and my reason for that is he doesn't get... So, like, Ronaldo's dribbling up to him. He knocks the ball to his left. He knocks the ball to his left. His body and his momentum are going left. But he shifts it because he knows Soufal's about to make a play on ball, which is smart, right? But at the same time, he's not playing the ball. As much as Soufal plays him and not the ball, Ronaldo stops playing the ball that he's hit into space, which he can run into. He looks for the contact. So even though it would have been a foul anyway, had he actually followed the path of the ball and actually tried to play normally, I think the fact that he plays for the foul and the contact makes the ref think, okay, he's just diving. And I think that's what ultimately hurt him for the later appeal, because when I saw that one with Zuma, I think it was, originally I thought it was a clear dive. Because if you watch it in real
You know what's
time,
funny? I actually thought the same thing. The first time when I saw that, I
yeah,
was like, "Oh,
it looks
that's not
like
a foul."
Ronaldo's 100% going down in that weird, unnatural way, right? Like
Mm.
he's almost like leaning forward and then like he topples.
But when you see
And
the other camera angle, though, that's what did it. I did because I thought he got the ball. That's what I originally thought. I thought, oh,
yeah,
he's got the ball.
and then
But
when
when
I
I
saw
look,
he didn't get the ball, I was like, hang
yeah,
on. If you slow it down, Ronaldo's still falling forwards even before Zuma's made contact with his legs. And so on repeat viewings, if you look, the reason
I
Ronaldo
haven't seen.
falls is actually because Zuma slaps him in the back with his left hand. Like when you watch the replay, check it out. So Ronaldo's going, he's knocked it forward, and obviously when you're running forward fast, you naturally lean into it.
Mm,
But Zuma comes down, slaps him on the back, which sends Ronaldo forward before his legs make contact, which is why it looks like a dive to us. It took me ages until I was like, hang on, why does he keep moving? Like, why does he fall? It's because of the hand, so it's 100% a foul because Zuma actually causes him to fall before he's even made a play on the ball with his legs. So on repeat viewings, I think the second one is definitely a penalty. The first one
mm,
I still wouldn't give, because I think Ronaldo actually plays for the contact, even though he didn't need to. That's the thing. Like if a defender's gonna fuck up, let the ref clearly see them make that mistake, and you just
hmm
keep doing you. But because he essentially dived for the first one to look for the contact, when the second one happened in real time, it looks like a dive, right? Because we thought that one was more of a dive in the first place. Atkinson's like, look, you fucked up on the first chance. I'm definitely not going to give you the second. But he's a referee. He should be impartial. And with VAR, he should at least go and watch the bloody replay.
Yeah,
So
that makes
it's
no
sort of
sense
like
to me.
incompetence on his part. I definitely think the first one was 50-50. Wouldn't be mad with it either way. The second one would have needed a review because in real time it doesn't look as bad until you see the slow motion. You see what causes him to go over. And then finally, I have to understand that like certain players have reputations, and over the course of his career, is Cristiano Ronaldo a diver? 100 fucking percent. 100%. Luis Suarez is a diver. Neymar is a diver.
Salah is a diver.
Salah's a diver. You know,
Yeah,
Messi,
I
for the
think
most part, like for example, isn't, but he has dived before. Like, you know, but you got to like take into the totality of what they do. But Ronaldo does it in such a smart way because he's a really fucking smart footballer where he anticipates the contact. Like he knows what defenders are going to do. He's always a step ahead of them. And for
mm,
me, you cannot reward play like that. You cannot reward somebody gaming the system, you know, and trying to look for the contact. However, the second
but,
one
but your
definitely was a
point is
foul and
that there
should have
would have
been
been
reviewed.
contact anyway, right?
That's what I'm saying. But
So the put the
it's not the same
he
thing
would have
though.
still
It's not
had
the
the
same
tackle,
thing.
right?
If he had played it legitimately and been fouled, that's fair enough. But if you force
Mm.
someone to foul you, right, by essentially simulating before they actually foul you, that's on you. You should have just stayed on your
I don't
feet.
think
Like, what's
anyone,
wrong
but
with
no
you?
one forces him to stick his leg out when you're defending in the box, right? And
He
this is
doesn't,
where the
but
way I see it is when you.
Ronaldo's right leg clatters into Soufal's right.
I
And
mean,
he's
look, I'm
already
gonna have to
moving
look at it
left.
again. I'm gonna have to look at it again. But all I know for sure is that Sue Fowles' leg is definitely extended out, and that's not a natural. It's not like he's standing there naturally. His leg is out, so he, in
He
his
completely
opinion,
whiffs the ball. Like I said, it's a foul. 100% it's a foul. Like I'm agreeing with that. I just don't think the fact that Ronaldo then like plays into the defender rather than go for the ball. You know, so I'm saying it's just like a bad decision from Ronaldo. It would have been a
mm,
foul, but he actually essentially initiates the dive before,
I think
which makes
if
no
you're
sense
gonna,
for me. It happens in such a quick span of time that you know he's so used to it. For him, it's muscle
I
memory.
can't disagree with what you're
He's
saying
so used to
about
doing it,
him, all
like
of that.
that. I'm
Yeah,
like, you can't reward him for it.
I can't
But
disagree with it
the
because I need
second
to
one
look at
should
it
have been a
again.
pen. The second one should have been a pen for sure.
Mm. I can't disagree with what you're saying with the first one because I need to look at it again. So I'm not saying that he has or hasn't done that, or I'm not saying in terms of Ronaldo buying the foul and going down earlier and whatever. I need to see that. I need to see it again. But in my mind, when I'm thinking as a defender, when you're in the box, you have to be very careful with how you defend. And if you're going to stick a leg out at a player that's running and not even touch the ball at all, I do feel like there should be some punishments if you're sticking it out into a player's part, like point. What's it? Their run, like in their path
Yeah,
that they're running, which is the path that he was running down. So if he's not the ball forward and he's running straight, that him sticking his leg out is in front of his I don't even know what the right word is, but yeah, his path of that he's running down. And so, in my opinion, that's reckless.
It's the thing. It's bad defending. It's 100% bad defending. A lot of people won't agree with me. Regardless of what their opinions
But a
on
lot of
football
people
purism are. But I don't think,
will agree
especially
with you,
attacking
and that's the good thing about opinions, isn't it? Like
should not be
everyone has their
rewarded.
own.
Attacking players should not be rewarded with baiting fouls because the game is so lopsided in the favor of attacking players to begin with
I do agree with
that
that. I
you
do
shouldn't
agree with
reward
that.
them anymore, right? Like, but that's the thing. It's just if you're going to
I do
bait
agree
the
with that.
foul when you would have been fouled anyway, the baiting is the part that gets you disqualified for me, right? Like, it's the same as simulation. It's the same as diving, and I don't want anybody to ever dive and get rewarded for it. And on the flip side, Atkinson is a shit ref, and he should have followed up on both those occasions. But more so than that,
Yeah.
what I really want to see is accountability for stuff like this for refs. Like when they
No,
blatantly just
I agree.
disregard it, and he's obviously let the first incident cloud his judgment on the second, right? Even though, like I said, in real time it looked like that, but he has the power to go and review it and rock and roll it back as many times as he want in ultra slow motion and get a few angles. So there should be accountability for refs, and I think they also need to be able to get mic'd up and explain their thought process. Because if he had said during the first
A
one,
lot of people have been calling for stuff like that.
yeah, like if he had said during the first one, like, what I said essentially that the
Yeah.
player was looking for it, then it's understandable because he wouldn't be wrong. Ronaldo was looking for that, even though Southampton also committed a foul. It's like, which way does he then give the benefit of the doubt to the attacker or the defender? Cool, then justify it, and people will agree or disagree, and obviously some people will boo him and some people will cheer him. But then to not even do that and not even utilize the technology that he has at hand because he doesn't, his ego's too big and he doesn't want to admit he was blatantly wrong. It's kind of like, then what's the point? Like, players are going to keep having to do that and over simulate and over exaggerate contact.
Well, that's the other
knowing,
argument, isn't it?
they got to act for Oscar winning performances if they're not going to get a review. Like, you got to sell everything on that one chance if they're not even going to review it. So it's a double-edged sword.
That's an interesting point you made there. I mean, like I said before, I'm not going to agree or disagree with the whole Ronaldo thing. I will look at it again, and I'll probably say something. I'll say something on a group chat. Yeah, but if Ronaldo has looked for it and tried to dive there, then I do agree with you that we shouldn't be rewarding that. But it's a good point you made there that we're at a point where if I've seen before where players have tried really hard to stay on their feet and whatnot, and they've been fouled and haven't gone down, and they haven't got anything, and you're looking and you're sitting there like, well, if you had gone down there, you would have got a penalty, but you didn't. And so we're on this like weird place where you kind of have to go down and make it obvious, otherwise you could get nothing. But then if you go down and make it obvious, sometimes you look like you're trying to buy the foul. And I'm not saying that that's the reason why everyone does it, but it is true. Like, I've definitely seen who I remember. I mean, I'm just trying to remember one off the top of my head, but I remember watching a game with my dad the other, last season. It was a Liverpool game, and I think it was one of their youngsters, and he did so well getting in the box, and he was like getting fouled, and like he was trying to stay so hard, trying to stay on his feet. And in the end, he lost the ball. But both me and my dad were sitting there like, why didn't he go down? He should have gone down there. That would have been a foul. That should have been a foul. But we were both saying, "Oh, it's the inexperience in him. He's young. He doesn't,
It seems like it seems like the diving in the box kind of gets trained into them because, like you said, the younger kids, they'll like even when I was playing grassroots, like I've never dived because I always try and stay on my feet. Because to me that's cheating. Like you're conning the referee. But like it seems like when you have kids like that who stay on their feet and suddenly a couple of games later, the exact same thing happens and they fall on the floor and they get a penalty. Like it seems like it's trained in them to like just go down, feel contact, to go down. But like I agree, literally I agree with everything that Z's just said because I was sitting there listening to it. I was like, yeah. I could pick. I didn't watch the game, but I could picture every moment. And like players like that, like of Ronaldo, he's 36. He's been around the block a couple of times. He's used to people trying. He's one of those players who he's obviously started off on the wing. He's very tricky, and people are going to want to try and foul him. And his age and experience, he knows that the defender's coming. I'm in the box. Let's get the foul. But then again, you also see it a lot of players as well. Like if you watch on slow mos when they go in the area, they'll sense contact coming, and they'll just leave a leg trailing.
Yeah,
and it will clip someone, and they'll go down. And then it's a penalty because there's contact there. So I think just saying contact in the area is automatically a penalty isn't right. It is. Well,
I do agree with that.
In context, I think for me, it's a lot about the context. So like if someone's looking for a foul, then I'll go, yeah, that's not a foul because they're looking for it. Yeah, they've been taken out, but if you look at their body language, they're looking for it. If it's genuine, like it's a tackle, they've tried to make it to block it, they've messed it up, and then they've taken the man and not the ball, then yeah, then not foul. But and the same with the referees, like the mic up, they do that in the NFL. So when they call a penalty or a foul or a flag, the referee will literally turn to the crowd, have his mic on, basically explain his decision, the consequences, and why, and then they're going to crack on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I even prefer rugby. Like rugby, literally, they'll pause the game for like 30 seconds, and just dude goes on like some little, soliloquy about exactly what went on, and they perfectly, explain it, and players respect the refs for it. I mean, the other issue is that diving and stuff like that, there's been, and all the other sort of like, cheating to get small advantages, and it happens with anything. This is the other thing. You see it with throw-ins, you see it with indirect free kicks, then rolling the ball forward, goalkeepers not even getting called out for holding the ball longer than 6 to 8, 12 seconds or whatever. So there's all those little like micro cheating moments where every little advantage kind of builds up. But at the same time, if refereeing performances don't improve, you know that at some point in the game you're going to get fucked over by a bad refereeing decision. So you have to engineer stuff in your favor to counter that natural disadvantage that both teams will face, but you don't know who's going to get more of the brunt of it in any given game. Like, United were definitely shafted against West Ham. Like, looking back, they should have had at least one of those penalties, right? But in the next game, they're still going to do what they do, because there'll come a day that they get shafted twice, 3 times. And they've got to feel like, it's trained in that every advantage is balancing out this natural order where incompetent referees are screwing you over in games, that you should have won, you should have come away with a point, or some unfairness was like doled out. So it just needs to be better all around. Teams should be implementing it, managers should be implementing it, the culture shouldn't be allowing it, but refereeing also needs to be better. But
I do feel that referees do, like you said, they do make a snap judgment on a player based on like an incident.
Yeah,
but they're human, so they're going to do that, because like if they know like Ronaldo's a bit of a diver, or Salah, and they go in the air and like it's a clear penalty, but they think it's a dive.
Exactly.
They're not going to give it, and they think, he's just diving.
It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? Like, you do it enough times, that sticks with you. I mean, if Luis Suarez falls in the box, it's like a 3% chance that motherfucker was fouled. Like, straight up, like, especially with the way, like, going back to Ronaldo, the way he acts with the first one on Soufal, he even gets clattered because he looks for it, and then in midair he does that like weird flop they all do, like, where their body moves unnaturally and like wobbles in the air.
They do like that extra dive, like they're starting to swim.
That then becomes preconditioned in your mind as a dive, because you don't naturally act like that, even if there is contact. That's the other stuff, right? Like, if players just went down normally and distinguished a normal foul and a normal fall and what gravity should fucking look like, then they would have more to go with when they, look at the ref and they're like, look, I just fell down. I clattered. Like, nothing else stopped me. I didn't wobble in the air. It was just looked like a regular foul. And it should be a penalty, but they sort of like harm their own appeal sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
But, like you said, some players don't do it. I know there's a game, it was Lukaku was playing. I can't remember if it was, obviously, was it Chelsea or was it Inter? But anyway, somebody's pulling his shirt for like a good 5-10 seconds. Maybe even been the Euros, and somebody's just tugging his shirt, and he's so strong he just runs away. But at the same time, it was like, that's a free kick on the outside of the box. Like, if he just stops, turns around, looks at the ref, and appeals and throws his hands up, annoyed and stuff, then he gets that foul all day. But
but see, the ref, they shouldn't have to do that, though. They shouldn't have to do that. The refs should be able to pick up on that stuff.
I find
there's more than one ref, right? That's the thing. There's so many of these refs, and they just don't look at it, ignore it, or can't see it happening.
I find like with players like who are built bigger, like Lukaku, and that, if they get like taken out or pushed over by like a little scrawny player, you kind of like, come on, mate, look at the size of you, really. So like, I can see why some refs won't give like a foul on Lukaku if he's been like pushed over by Pablo Mari or something. Like, come on, mate.
Exactly. It didn't stop Drogba though. That dude was stronger than most defenders, and it was just like you could blow him over. But
his first couple of seasons at Chelsea, he was such a diver. It was embarrassing. But then like he got smarter.
And that's the thing, like with players like Ronaldo, over time you get really smart. Like you get really good at bending, blurring the lines between
Yeah,
what looks right and what looks wrong and shit like that. So even when things should go in his favor, like the Zuma one on
yeah,
repeat viewings, it doesn't because his image is stained, and people like Atkinson and other refs, you could definitely see that happening with other referees as well.
oh
like
yeah,
Dean. So it's unfortunate that it kind of like went against him, but
yeah.
Well, I
the
mean,
other thing I find
all
weird
this
is
negativity, but at the end of the day, United still
they
won.
still won.
So,
I mean,
and
that
that was dramatic the way it ended. I mean, Jake, for context, I know you didn't
I
see
know,
it.
I know what
Oh,
happened.
you know about
He
it,
brought
yeah.
on Mark Noble to score a penalty, and he missed
So he
said
basically
penalty.
did what Gareth Southgate did, and
Yeah.
brought on someone to take a penalty out, even though they hadn't kicked a ball. And
Don't you
and
dare
De Gea
disrespect
made the
Bukayo
save.
Saka. How dare you?
No. I mean, it's nothing. That's what I'm saying. It's Gareth Southgate's fault. It's not even the player's fault. I've never
Yeah.
been in that camp of
No,
blaming the
it's not.
players.
No, I'm bantering them. Don't worry
but
I
no,
must
I mean,
defend
I
Bukayo.
think Jesse coming on and scoring the goal. I mean, it's almost like it was
It was a
meant
good
to be.
bounce. It was a good bounce back. It was a good bounce back for him. I think I was quite happy when I saw he scored. I was a bit annoyed that United won. Cause oh damn, they're still top. They're still up there. But like when I saw Jesse Lingard score, I was like, yeah, good lad.
I think after the week, people are so like football fans are so like reactive, and
They're
I know he
fickle.
got a bit of hate, after like one little mistake, which I don't know, well, it was a big mistake, but everyone makes mistakes and things like that happen in football, and it was nice to see him get the goal, and also he didn't celebrate because it was West
Exactly.
Ham. I thought that was quite nice.
Then
I
Bruno and Cristiano tried to make him celebrate.
They applauded him when he came on as well. Like they knew
They
he
did,
knew
yeah.
like he didn't want to
They
rub
gave
it in
him
or anything. It was a great
nah,
goal.
yeah. They
But
applauded
yeah, I
him.
mean that late drama. I don't know if you guys know about like Rasheed Wallace. He's like an NBA player, and what he used to do was when he used to get called for a foul, if he didn't think it was a foul, he'd wait for like the opposing player to take a free throw, and if they missed the free throw, he'd shout, "Ball don't lie." Like you just shout it, like and they'd always give him like another technical after that. He has a record for most technical fouls in NBA history, but literally they'd miss it, and he'd be like, "Ball don't lie, ball don't lie," and that's what that felt
just to
like,
rub it
man.
in
Like
more.
that's what
I
that
know.
felt like. Now with the benefit of hindsight, clear penalty, but De Gea making his first penalty save since 2016. Like he is terrible at saving
Really?
penalties. He is.
Yeah, he's not
awful.
great at saving penalties.
Mate,
He's not.
you need Kepa.
Man, like you need Samir Handanovic is when you want to come to penalties and stuff. So, but yeah, De Gea, that was his first penalty save in over 5 years.
Oh,
But that is a ball don't lie moment because United should have got out of that game with the win, and they did.
it's a good,
I believe
good
he
save.
should have as
Good, I
well.
saw the save. It was a very good save. Like it's one of those
Yeah, really
it's one of those penalty saves that I love when they dive and they have both like one hand in the air and one hand down low,
Yeah.
and it just hits that stray hand. It's like
I think,
perfect timing.
like De Gea has been so good for us this season. I think like last season he had a good season as well, but this season especially because he saved us in this game, but he also saved us against Wolves. There was a shot which he made a save, which I was sure it was going in, but he made the save and saved us. And he had one of those in the Southampton game as well. So 3 of the games so far this season, he's made shots that have saved us. But that one West Ham really was like in the dying moments, like to give us the 3 points. And
Exactly.
I'm happy for De Gea because it seemed like he was getting a lot of like stick in the media because Dean Henderson was here and everyone wanted Dean Henderson to be the number one. And so a lot of the British media were writing stuff about Henderson needs to take over and all the rest of it. Pundits saying that De Gea is not like finished and all the rest of it. But like for me, I like Dean Henderson. I think he's great, and I like De Gea. I think we need to stick with De Gea because 30 is not old for a keeper, and what he's done for us over the years has been, amazing. During our worst times, he was our best player, and he's coming back to form. Last season, and he was really good, and this season I can see it as well. Again, last season there was a game against was it Roma in the Europa League? I think it was the semi-finals or the quarterfinals, and we, I'm sure we was going to go out in the second leg because the amount of saves that guy had to make, but he made them all and he was amazing. And I just think I don't see any good reason to drop him for Dean. at the moment. But Dean's a good player as well. I don't think he's necessarily ready to take over as number one.
No, I don't think. When I've watched him when he come back from Sheffield, I didn't really find him that not really reliable, but as good. Like he let in very sloppy goals in my opinion.
He had a few he had a couple
dodgy
of
moments.
games that were
dodgy moments.
I remember the Liverpool game specifically last season in the league. He wasn't good in that game. He wasn't. But
yeah. So I'm not saying goalkeepers aren't allowed dodgy moments. They are, of course.
Yeah.
But I found his a bit more quick, a few quite close proximity to each other, and that's not really reassuring.
Back off loan a bit too early. I think he should have continued for another couple of seasons with teams that are going to give him first team football. Maybe
send him out on the Premier League again maybe send him if they brought him back from Sheffield, send him back to Everton or West Ham or some a mid-table team where he's going to play a bit more, have a bit more experience and get more positive results, or play with bigger players, because let's be honest, Sheffield United didn't really have star quality, really.
No. But overall, it was a good game, and I think West Ham played very well. Despite them losing, I think they were very good.
Yeah, man. So, especially with Antonio.
Exactly.
I mean, Benrahma got lucky. Good for me. He's on my fantasy team, but
mine too.
That was a fortunate goal. But I think they still created enough chances over the course of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
To have sort of deserved it, if you want to, say it like that.
Yeah.
But, United overall. I mean, just that Ronaldo goal, man. Watching him play is just different. It's almost like a different sport at times. Everybody else shuts off, and he's just constantly playing off. Like I said, he's always one or two steps ahead. He knows what these defenders are thinking before they're thinking it.
Yeah,
and he's just like, I'm off. And they're he's proactive. They're all reactive. But that's what happens when you've got thousands and thousands of hours against the best players in the world under your belt. And these guys are just there's got to be intimidation, a little bit of fear as well, just anxiety almost, because you're like, what's he gonna do? He's one of the best players ever, but we haven't played him against him yet. What exactly makes him different? And then you just blink and he's gone, and you're like, shit, that. You don't even know that you've messed up until you have, and then you got an hour in a live scenario to adapt with no coaching, no training drills, none of that. And you're just like, man, this is gonna be a tough day. But West Ham played great. It was a good game.
Good game
overall.
Yeah. I mean, we'll move on to some of the other games. Man City drew with Southampton. That's a great result for both of us, Jake.
Are we going to the empty head? Are we?
See?
Hey.
After Pep pleaded with his fans to come into the stadium, handing out free tickets on the corner of the road.
Legit, man. I was expecting to come home from work with an envelope saying, "Please come to Man City, Southampton." I'm like, nah, bruv, you're all right. But and then he was. I read something because he said that, didn't he? After the Leipzig games, we haven't got fans. We need our fans to come here. I want to fight all our fans to come. And then he was saying, a day later, when I didn't say that. Why would you say it? Well, I wouldn't say. I would never say that.
He was basically trying to say. He's not going to apologize because he wasn't criticizing the fans, basically saying that they're not.
It is really criticism, isn't it? It's not saying it's not a passing mention. Fans aren't here. But
you don't hear any other managers saying it, do you? So.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking. Was literally all 19 Premier League managers, since the fans have gone, it's been so great to have the fans back. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah, as soon as fans have just come back as well, to be begging for fans.
The guy's we need more. It's not good enough. Bro, you barely sell out anyway. Where was this 5 years ago, bro?
I mean, if you can't fill your stadiums just after coming out of a pandemic where fans couldn't go to football, if you can't fill your stadiums then you'll never be able to fill them.
But the things are, how much do Man City charge for tickets, and then you're gonna
I don't know.
And bearing in mind the tough times that people have had with the pandemic and with finance and that, they're not going to be able to, as much as they want to.
Can afford to, yeah.
They're not going to be able to afford. What they can afford is to go to the pub, have a drink, and watch the game. They can't afford to go there, and he's expecting these people to turn up and show their support. Man City have not had proper support ever, really. Not have known, even with the takeover. They have the plastics that kind of just switched to them when they won the league. But I don't actually know of any legitimate Man City fans.
I think they are. like there are legitimate Man City fans, obviously
Oh
about.
yeah,
but,
I'm not down.
yeah, I mean,
I've never
I've
encountered one in the
never,
wild.
I've really, or like a Pokemon.
Yeah, like it's a Wild City fan.
Oh, a Wild City fan appeared. It hurt itself in its confusion.
It's fainted.
Honestly, I think
It uses oil. It's effective.
yeah, the oil money is not effective here. I think it just shows like you can't buy history. Like you can't buy that.
No.
You know, you can't
In
buy fans. You know, at the end of the day,
in the words of the Wellstone Radar, you got no fans.
legend,
But
absolute
yeah,
legend.
and then I saw something like after the game, he was saying like, oh well, we didn't lose because we didn't have a striker. We didn't lose because of our game plan. We lost because they had 7 days to prepare and we had 10 minutes.
Oh,
They
my
played
God.
on Wednesday. They went on Wednesday or Tuesday. More than enough time.
Come on, man. West Ham played on Thursday and they don't have Antonio. You don't see them using that as an
Nah,
excuse.
it's Matt. Yeah,
Yeah, like that's. I mean, look, Man City has, they talk about United having such an amazing squad and they should be doing this, but City have one of the the best squads in world
very strong
football,
squad.
so they should be. There's no excuses, and I know they haven't got a striker, but one, they won the league last season without a striker, and two, they didn't have to get Kane. They could have gone for someone else.
The mad thing is though, like
They have Gabriel Jesus as well. All this talk about them not having a striker. Gabriel Jesus must be sitting there like, am I a joke?
Am I a joke to you?
Do I play tennis?
Yeah, he's been
I'll play
great
tennis
this
in it, bruv.
season.
He has
Out
been
on
good
the
for
wing.
them.
I mean, out on the
Yeah.
wing. I think Ferran Torres was kind of taking that striker role, but then obviously
He
Pep
has,
being
but
Pep,
Sterling
he's like,
played it.
but he's like Torres is benched. You're like, dude, you just fucking got an informed player who can play in that role.
Yeah,
But like
he benched him for Sterling up front to play
He's-
striker.
he's too impulsive for his own good. Like Pep
Mm.
always feels like he's the smartest guy in every room he walks into, and he's always making changes. Like, nah, it's this player's girlfriend's mum's birthday. Like, he's definitely gonna have more. Like, shut the fuck up and play your £70 million player next to your £80 million player next to your £100
Next
million
to a £100
player,
million player,
right?
yeah.
And leave your £50 million player and your £40 million players on the bench. And when they get injured, get your £30 million players and get in. And when they're injured, ask the bosses for more money. That's all it takes for him to do, right? Like, he's always bitching about stuff and formations and tactics. All credit to the big man Ralph Hasenhüttl that game.
Yep,
They shut him
definitely.
out. They couldn't do
Definitely.
anything. And we know City are going to have a game or two like that every season. And Southampton generally, Southampton City games are always random as fuck. Like 0-0. Then they win 1-0 like a couple of years ago through a Shea Adams deflected goal, I think. Then they get battered 5-0. Then they,
or 9-0.
crazy draw after getting battered 9-0 and stuff like that. So they're really hard to predict, but I think Hasenhüttl did a great job. Guardiola just tinkered for
Too much.
too much, and he always does it. He always does it. It's his biggest crux, and he's nobody to blame but himself.
The thing that really makes me mad about Pep Guardiola is like he goes about saying, "Well, we haven't got any money to buy these players," and then they go and drop £100 million on Jack Grealish, and they were going to buy Hotane for £150 million.
I don't understand
while
how
some
you
are
can
going,
drop
"We've got
100
no
on
money,
Jack
guys.
and
We've got
not
no money,
be
guys."
willing to only spend 150 in the transfer window for the player you apparently need. Like,
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not Pep, but if I was Pep, I would have gone all out for the striker, and Grealish could have been, someone that I go for once the striker's sorted, or next summer. Like they could have waited till next summer to get Jack Grealish. He wasn't going anywhere.
No one else was in for him. That's the thing.
No, he would have stayed at Aston Villa. So they needed a striker. They knew they needed a striker, and so that's what I would have gone all out for. But
then Pep with his tinkering, he's very overconfident, I find, sometimes for his own good. Because in the Champions League final against Chelsea, he made a very fatal change and he dropped I think Rodri, and the only time he dropped Rodri was when he lost the game. That season.
Yeah, I remember the Champions League final, right?
How cocky are you?
Yeah, he dropped Rodri. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe
And
it.
then
He played the midfield of all attacking midfielders, basically.
And then he got his just desserts.
Yeah. The guy loves to tinker, doesn't he?
He's very cocky.
He is. But like I say, he thinks he's the smartest guy in every room. And then, meanwhile, you got Klopp on the other hand. Klopp is like, I will play the exact same team until they die. And then they went like 40-odd games unbeaten and won the league. And it was like, oh, look at this massive contrast. Klopp is a great backup options and stuff like that, but he will keep playing the same dudes as long as they're on form until they get injured, or they certainly need a rest around Christmas periods or heavy tournament involvements and stuff like that. Whereas, Pep is just too bold for his own good.
Yeah, well, I mean, Liverpool did actually make some changes this weekend, and
Yeah,
they
man.
still
Like,
managed to get the win.
I mean,
So,
Trent last minute, illness, not COVID. I think he's just sick. Wasn't feeling too great, and then
mm.
Milner came on and was phenomenal. Honestly,
Milner,
just
wow. I mean, how old
amazing.
is Milner now, by the way? Because honestly, he
He's
every time he
vintage.
comes on, whatever position he's asked to play, he always does it solid.
He's
Always.
vintage. Absolute
He's
true professional.
so versatile, man. So
It really
versatile.
is.
No nonsense. You put him anywhere, he'll give it his all. And that's the thing. He gives so much effort with so much intensity that whichever position you put him in, he'll never do bad. Like,
Yeah.
he makes up for it through sheer will. And it's kind of like when you have players like that, he's obviously skilled. He's a good player. Like, he's got technical ability. He can pass. He can hold the ball up. He's got unlimited stamina. He's not that slow, and he's good at making interceptions, and defensively he can tackle as well. But you put all that together with somebody that's never going to give up. Perfect for Liverpool. Like, they're all based around that gegenpress and Klopp system of just getting the ball back and not giving them any space to breathe. So he did great. Simicast, I don't know why Robson was out. I guess he's just rested because he had that early injury, and
Maybe.
it's always just a bit safer.
I think also he played
to
in the
give him some
week,
time
didn't he?
off.
So
Yeah,
he probably
exactly.
just wanted to rest
Against
him a bit
Milan.
more.
So, but Simicast did really well.
He did.
Van
He
Dijk
did.
and I think Konate started right
Mm-hmm.
alongside Van Dijk. So that was a good partnership. And Palace had a few chances, but for the most part, Liverpool kind of looked imperious. Really good goals,
Yeah.
especially the Keita one, man. He just looked like he was in disbelief when it went in. He was like,
Oh, that was so
"Oh,
funny. His
anger
face when he
from me."
scored. He was like,
Exactly.
"What?
He was like,
Did
"Oh,
I just do
whoops!
that?"
I accidentally pressed L2 and circle. Guess it worked."
pure Cantona vibes. Just
Yeah,
missing
exactly.
just missing the collar, the popped
But
up
Yeah,
collar.
yeah, that
trust me.
was Liverpool at their very best. I think they look really, really good. And Mane, 9 games in a row now he scored against Palace.
Yeah, yes, yeah, it's
He
unreal.
hates he hates Palace. Holy crap! Like that's
Palace hate him.
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
I think Mane loves Palace.
yeah. He's like 15 goals in 13 games as well. So he's got his. I mean, it's crazy. Just a couple of seasons ago, he was so clinical, and now
Mm.
he's had that. He's had a pretty long run of form where he's been pretty wasteful. And
I would
always used to
agree.
think Salah was the greedy one and Mane was selfless, and that kind of has been inverted where Mane will just be taking chances and not passing the ball when he's essentially no other option to do it. Not no option but to pass. And Salah's always trying to work him in and be a team player, sometimes to his own detriment. But Liverpool are still winning, top league with Chelsea. If they get that problem fixed out and they're both firing on all cylinders,
And
especially if
United.
Bobby comes back,
And
United as
United.
well.
Yeah.
Sorry, that
United.
made me laugh. And United's there as well. Don't
Just gotta
forget.
put it there. United as well. We're there.
Yeah, but
I
Chelsea.
think to be
Chelsea
fair,
are
you
top.
two are above us with goal difference, so
Chelsea are
we're
top.
technically second.
We're top,
Yeah,
and the weather is glorious up there.
And then obviously shout out to Brighton as well. Above Man
Yeah,
City,
that was
Graham
good.
Potter, phenomenal manager,
He
and
is. He really is a
like
good manager.
anybody who's watched any of
Maybe
their
that's
games knows.
who Tottenham should have got. To be honest.
I think he would have said no.
I think he would have said no.
Genuinely think he would have said no.
He seems like a really principled, like sound dude, like Graham
Yeah.
Potter. Like you hear him speak, he's so smart. He's so
Yeah.
aware of everything that's going on around him. He's doing so much with arguably so little. And even last 2 seasons, he played really good football. But when you got Neil Maupay trying to finish your strikes,
Yeah,
you're gonna lose.
They need a proper striker. Yeah.
They've got Welbeck.
It'd be amazing. You know who I would love to see at Brighton? Alan Saint-Maximin. Because
Ooh,
the only thing I feel like they sometimes
he
lack,
is
because they're so
mad.
well drilled, he has so much flair and creativity.
So
He
much flair.
deserves to be on a
Twinkled
better
toes,
team.
man.
He
He's
deserves
just
to be on a better
dancing on the
team.
pitch. He
Naturally
does. He
two-footed,
does. He
incredible.
was amazing in that game on Friday.
Yeah, he was really, really
Again.
good, and that was a great game. Like anything involving
End
Leeds
to
is
end.
always worth
Yeah,
watching and tuning into.
always.
Rafinha had a good game, but he's just electric, man. Like I'd love to see him at a team like Brighton, and if he was there, and they had that spark, because they don't really have somebody that can create.
Yeah.
They're so well disciplined and organized that Potter's system will get them there. But I still feel like in teams that are like that, if you have somebody that can just like pull, a rabbit out the hat at any given moment, like Saint-Maximin, that kind of could put you over the edge. Because when teams set up against you, like the top teams do against Brighton, and they know how to break them down and keep the ball away from the midfield, players like Trossard not allowing to run, Maupay has to play really delayed off the last shoulder. off last defender. Sam Maximan would be perfect for a team like that. But maybe Mike Ashley will sell. All he cares about is the money anyway.
He
It'd
won't
be a shame,
sell.
It'll be a shame to
He's-
see
that-
Newcastle go down, but
Newcastle been up for sale. Newcastle's been up for sale for about 5-7 years.
no, I mean, Newcastle selling San Maximan.
Oh, so no, yeah, they
Yeah,
won't sell
I
that.
mean, trying to get the club, you have to pry it out of Mike Ashley's cold, dead hands.
That club's too important to him. It makes him so much money for a Sports Direct. Like his
God,
his
man,
real
Sports
business.
Direct sponsors in the stadium in St James's Park is so insulting as well. Like so much history in the place.
Yeah.
And they're selling you £3.99 Lonsdale socks with fucking holes in them. Terrible.
Your fucking you got Lonsdale tracksuit bottoms don't like for different length legs.
Yeah.
With one ear muff.
Let's we're gonna have to
Newcastle.
We're gonna have to move it on, right? But because there are two more sort of teams I want to talk about, but we also need to do predictions.
Can I just say then, London is blue.
Well, Chelsea is one of the teams.
That's my sum up. London is blue. We beat Arsenal and Tottenham. London is blue. Simple as that.
Simple as that. You can talk a bit more about Chelsea. I mean, look, we're going to talk about predictions for the next games, and Tottenham are playing Arsenal, right? So North London derby. Sorry. So I'm thinking this is a good opportunity to say, talk about first how Tottenham's weekend's been and how Arsenal's weekend's been, and then what do we reckon is going to happen in North London derby? Because obviously, Tottenham lost 3-0 to Chelsea. I saw the game.
Damn right they did.
The first half they were good. I think they were really good in the first half. To be fair,
so
second
half,
second half not so good. Second half they fell apart.
Second half Chelsea turned up.
Well, there you go.
The real Chelsea
but it's not even just that as well. It's Tottenham as well. The way that they were playing, they just wasn't the same team as the first half. I don't know what Nuno said to them. I don't know. Why the intensity, was gone from them after that, but they just weren't the same team. And Kane doesn't look like he wants to be there to me. He does not look like he wants to be there.
He's going through the motions a little bit.
He is going through the motions.
But
it's been quite a tough summer for him, really. Obviously, with the Euros and that, the disappointment, and then him saying him being quite openly public saying I kind of want to move on and kind of want to have a new challenge to win trophies. To Spurs later going, you are never leaving here ever. And
seeing everyone else get their moves, so many big moves over the summer. A lot of the biggest players move into different clubs, and he is one of the biggest players. Jack Grealish got his move. Lukaku got his move. Ronaldo and Messi got their moves. There's so many. You mentioned Jack Grealish. There's just so many big players moving in the summer, and he's stuck there at Spurs.
I wouldn't say Messi wanted that move, but it was kind of forced upon him.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
To be fair to the Kane situation, though, I mean, Daniel Levy did state his price tag. Man City just refused to budge.
The price is obviously ridiculous because if it's what I don't know what it is, but I mean,
this is the thing. There are no other available world-class strikers.
But you say,
and what else are you going to do? It's Daniel Levy has all the chips in his favor.
Yeah, he holds all the cards.
Contract. He doesn't need to give him up. He named a price, and if City were willing to pay,
what did Pep say in his interview though? Pep said that he's willing to do it.
Kane.
Yeah, no, but I mean, Pep said he's willing.
City were willing to give 150 million euros, and Levy wanted 150 million pounds. If you look at the exchange rate, that's a difference of maybe 15 to 20 million pounds.
That's a lot.
It's just dick waving between big clubs and trying to somehow drive a bargain or feel like you came out the better end. It's look, if you want something, just pay for it. I don't go to Maggie's and ask for a fillet of fish and then give them fucking stamps. Just give them £3.19 it costs.
You haggle for a fillet of fish.
They taste delicious. But that's on them. He was available. They fucked up.
No, yeah, of course.
I think Ronaldo. They fucked up getting Messi.
No,
they
didn't even try with Messi.
Botched everything. They dropped 100 million and they're below Brighton. So.
Yeah, I mean they could have done maybe they could have gone for a stopgap solution like when United got Cavani or something, or when we got Gallo. Those were both supposed to be stopgap solutions.
It's just develop Torres, allow him to flourish into that role. We've seen players change role. I mean, look at Ronaldo. When he started at United, he was a winger and he was pretty terrible at it, and he developed himself into one of the greatest players of all time by basically becoming a poaching striker. it's possible. Like you just, especially in teams that are this big, with coaches that are this smart, with all these inherent advantages against everybody else, you could literally put Torres up against a team like Norwich, right, and just let him feast, or teams like Palace or whatever on a bad day, or Watford. Pep is just, for whatever reason, them and the board, they want a specific player, and they had a chance of game and they didn't. So tough.
That's it.
But I mean,
yeah.
in Kane not wanting to be there is obviously public as well. He had to save face and go on damage control, like, oh, I'm still, come on Spurs, whatever. But he doesn't want to be there. So it
No,
just
I mean,
seems
I
like
think it's obvious.
waiting to happen, right? Like it's
Yeah,
inevitable, but we just
yeah.
gotta wait for the next window or the next season.
Well, what do you think's going to happen with the well, actually no, we'll talk a little bit about Arsenal, because Arsenal did, they've won their last 2 games. They were
Back
getting
to
a lot of
back.
stick at the beginning of the season, and now all their players are fit. And I know we've said on this podcast before that once their players were back, they would be a lot
We
better.
did.
As fun as it is to take the mick out of Arsenal, we
It
expected
wasn't
a
going to last
difference.
forever. It wasn't going to
No,
last
of course
forever.
not. And
Partey
so
being
we've seen
back,
that. Yeah,
White being back,
yeah.
even
Gabriel
Aubameyang,
and
Gabriel
Ben
as well,
White
really
together
important.
is looked like a good partnership.
Because we have to be honest, they were making chances in those earlier games. They just weren't putting them away, and then when they weren't putting them away, they'd get caught. Like they get
Yeah.
caught napping, defensive lapses. Now they've got their better players back. It's easier for them to command the rest of their team, play as a unit. Partey is so vital to the way they play. I'm pretty sure like Martin
Partey,
Keown broke
he's
it down
very
on Match of
good.
the Day, where he essentially drops back and makes it a five-man back line. But as soon as he gets the ball, he's immediately moving out,
Yep.
spreads it wide.
We could use someone like that at
To
United.
Saka, yeah, I mean, Partey's great as long as he can stay healthy. So
As long as he can stay fit, yeah.
hopefully he can. But I think Arsenal at this point trending upwards. Their fixture
They've
run
both been
is
1-0 wins
favourable.
though. They've
They've
both
been
been
1-0
1-0 wins,
wins,
and
but
the
that's
goals,
not too different to what they were doing last year. Like
yeah.
even from a fantasy perspective, who had Arsenal strikers and stuff? You just had the defenders for the clean sheets, and Tierney maybe for his attacking potential, but that's still there. They're still good at the back. They're actually quite a good, resolute team. They play pretty with a lot of discipline. It's just the creative flair isn't there. But hopefully, players like Martin Odegaard are going to take care of that, because he looked
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
he looks
Great
good.
free kick. But it's just that movement they need. They need more time to gel, and maybe, I don't know, like who their best starting 11 is, but I don't think
I
Lacazette,
think it's pretty much similar to what they played
Aubameyang, and
on the
Pepe
weekend.
all need to play together at the same time. I don't think they need to play. Like they always seem to play to the detriment of each other. So Odegaard taking up that extra spot, keep Saka in there for sure.
Yep,
Smith
definitely.
Rowe's great
Smith
for as young as
Rowe,
he is.
yep.
Yeah, like
And that
I'd say
Tomiyasu looks
he looked
really
really
good.
good. He looked really good as well.
Mm.
And their whole backline, that's the thing, their whole backline now that it's sort of what we expect it to be, their starting 4 looks
Yep.
much better, like we
Looks
expected.
much
So
better. Much
I
better.
don't expect them to get embarrassed or anything from this point on, unless they obviously play like much stronger teams. But fingers crossed for Arsenal fans, is going to be on the way up for them, and they've got a really favourable fixture run
They
coming
do.
up. I mean, they're against Tottenham, but we've just seen what happened to Tottenham, and obviously Tottenham are missing a few key players as well. But I think a few have come back from Argentina and stuff, so they're available. Then they got Brighton, who's had a good. Then they got Palace, Villa,
Villa.
Leicester, Watford. Liverpool are in there, United, but they've got Newcastle, Southampton, so they should be able to at least pick up points against teams we'd expect them to pick up on. And this early in the season,
Definitely.
it should put them back in the top half of the table. Like I don't expect them to be there struggling for that long. If they are, however, Arteta's got to go. Like if he doesn't sustain
I agree.
this,
Yep.
he's out. Like
Yeah.
there's
I
no
agree.
chance you just keep him on for this project or whatever, because even inferior managers or whatever, or other managers at poorer clubs have managed to pull out results, and you're like, well, why are you getting him then? Why have you given this much time and this much leeway to not show anything in nearly 3 years? So
definitely. I mean, yeah, those are fixtures that they should be getting points in. Definitely, like there's no excuses, especially with all his players back. No excuses. So yeah, no. I think the next few weeks will be telling for Arteta. We'll just have to see how he does. But I agree. I think it's probably going to be upwards for onwards and upwards for Arsenal. I think they always do have a bad result in them, but I think mostly I think they'll manage to get points in those games. I don't know what to expect with the Tottenham one though. I feel like form goes out the window with that North London derby always, so it's hard to predict. But let's get some predictions. What are your guys' predictions for that game, Arsenal Tottenham?
With Son back, I'm actually going to go 2-1 to Spurs. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that 2-1 to Spurs. I mean, I don't know if I have to name goal scorers, but
No, you don't have to. I mean, you can if you want to.
Nah, I ain't that risky. No idea what's gonna happen, man. Tottenham Arsenal is just the most random.
I don't know, because this is really hard to call the North London derby, because like sometimes Tottenham turn up and then take Arsenal to the cleaners, and Arsenal turn up and take Tottenham to the cleaners. I think it just depends on where they're playing. So if it's like,
Arsenal at home.
So if it's Arsenal home, I'm gonna say Arsenal. But I'm gonna say like 1-0.
Yeah, I think the same. I think 1-0 to Arsenal. I think it'll be a very tight game. I don't think there'll be.
They're both not in good form, really, are they? If you think about it, because I know Arsenal have won 2 games in a row, but like they've both been 1-0 games, and like I've watched them, and I don't really seem convinced by Arsenal. I think they've kind of just.
I mean, Norwich. The Norwich game, they had more shots than they've had since December 2017 or something. But he was saying on Match of the Day.
That's Norwich.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you can break all kinds of records against Norwich. it's like whipping boys.
0 points for Norwich. Gosh.
When you're in the grassroots, you always have that one team in the league who are absolutely dog shit.
Yeah,
and literally every team spanks them like 10-0. That's Norwich. That's Norwich in my opinion. Except not the 10-0 losses.
All right. Well, we're all going for one. Well, me and Jake are going for 1-0 Arsenal. You went. Was it 2-1? Did you say?
I'll go 2-1 Tottenham.
Yeah, 2-1 Spurs. Okay. All right. What about Man City Chelsea?
Oh man, I just feel like this has 0-0 written all over
tasty. It's a tasty game.
I want it to be really good, but I think Chelsea set up so defensively sound. I'd be impressed if Man City break them, but at the same time, I do expect Pep at some point for his players to get into that rhythm of just controlling the ball. I don't think it'll be as exciting as I'm hoping, so I'm actually going to go for 0-0 on that one.
Okay, Jake.
I mean, I've got to go for a Chelsea win. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be a really bad Chelsea fan if I went, oh no, we ain't gonna win. No, but I think from what I've seen from this season and what I've seen since January from Thomas Tuchel, like literally, I'm not gonna say we're gonna win like 3 or 3-0, 2-0. I'm gonna say it's a 1-0 win, but it's gonna be like something like sloppy. Like it's either gonna be like an early goal or like a goal in the second half, or like Kai Havertz or like Marcos Alonso or Lukaku or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0.
I'm gonna go. You're going 1-0, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm going for a draw as well, but I think there'll be a goal either side. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go for. Okay. What about Liverpool Brentford? Brentford were amazing this weekend.
Sorry.
Against
Kenny
Wolves.
Mack's team. All I heard from them in the Championship was amazing attack with Tony and
Ivan Tony. He was brilliant yesterday, though. He was
great, but like at the same time, defensively they look way more solid at the back than they do going forward. So that's like a credit to them and management. But I think against Liverpool, I'm going to go 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay, Jake.
Yeah, Brentford are a bit of an enigma for me. Like I can't really call them. I'd have thought Arsenal would have beaten them in the opening day. I thought Crystal Palace would have beaten them. Again, I'd have paid Wolves to beat them. I wouldn't have pegged Brentford to be like doing this well 4 or 5 games into the season. But as good as I think they are, and I'm quite impressed by them, I just don't think they're no match to Liverpool. I'm going to say 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. To be fair, but I think they'll try. They'll give it a proper go. I'm gonna go 2-0. Or no, I'm gonna go 2-1. I reckon Ivan Toney might be able to get a goal. Yeah, 2-1. And lastly, Man United versus Aston Villa.
3-1 United. I think Ronaldo will get 2 goals.
Jake?
Again, interesting one, because I know, obviously, we know Man United are just a completely different machine with Cristiano Ronaldo in the squad now. Like, if there was no Ronaldo, I'd say it's a bit tight, but I think United win. But
Villa have been
again,
good.
Aston Villa, very, very good team. I think because we beat them 3-0. Very unfair scoreline, really. There, in fact that like we were on edge for most of the first half.
Yeah, but they were all over Everton as well this weekend.
Yeah,
well.
like it was only 1-0 at half time because we had Eddie Mendy in goal. Like made some absolutely insane saves, and Thiago Silva like putting his like getting like a last ditch block from Ollie Watkins. So Villa can cause United problems. I'm not. There's no denying that at all. I think Emi Buendia is starting to find his feet with the Aston Villa in the squad.
Yeah,
and so
Leon Bailey.
Yeah, Leon Bailey starting to find his feet as well.
Goal.
So, but I think United have a bit too much for him. I'm gonna say a 2-0.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 2-0 as well. Is Danny Ings fit? He is fit, isn't he?
Yeah, he seems to be alright.
It's always the thought Danny Ings can score, though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's why I went
the big
actually
teams as well.
1 goal for Villa, because he has a good record against big teams, but he can also just pull blinders out of nowhere. Really intelligent footballer. The thing is though, the benefit of having Fernandes, like obviously Raheem, you watch all the games, but you'll see that Bruno will do stuff with Ronaldo, like almost telepathically, that nobody else picks up on. You've seen this? Like he will look for Cristiano in areas that you would never expect another midfielder to, even like balls over the top with the outside of his foot, no-look passes, crosses out wide over the head of 3 defenders. Like, I mean, today was a great cross because he just knows instinctively that if he thinks of something, Ronaldo's already thought of it. And that for me is such a dangerous combination right now for United, where other teams can't pick up on this yet. They need to get this drilled in the training ground specifically for that game as they work up to it, and they've got nobody that can replicate Ronaldo's speed, instincts, acceleration, jumping ability. So everyone's figuring it out on the fly for the first time. So I expect United to score a lot in most of their games this season. I love how I say this. I don't have Ronaldo on my team. I've still got Lukaku, but I think they could definitely.
I mean, on that, Z, like the goal he scored against Young Boys. I don't know if you
that was
saw.
filthy.
Phenomenal.
The pass from Bruno. The pass from Bruno was just
But it's exactly that. Like you see defenders, they shut off. Like they don't think that there's a weakness to be exploited, because they're like playing against other teams and they do it all the time, and they're like, man, this is routine. Like we've got a solid back line, we're all talking to each other, we're all communicating. Out of nowhere, Ronaldo's moved out. They haven't reacted, and it's in the back of the net. Like they need to understand quickly in the Prem. He's 36 years old, and it doesn't mean he's old. It just means he's got 15 years of experience under his belt. And if you don't, if you're not reacting or paying attention, it'll carve you apart.
Legit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I haven't given my score yet, but I think I'll go for 2-1. Because I think I said 2-0 at first, but I thought about Danny Ings. So I think I'll go for 2-1 because of Danny Ings. Yeah, I'll go for 2-1. Cool. Well, that's all the predictions. It'd be, you know what, just to throw a one, a random one in. Leeds are playing West Ham. That looks like an exciting game to me, just looking at it. Do you guys want to do a little prediction for that one? Because that actually looks quite exciting.
10-0. I'm not even joking. Like, there's going to be Antonio 7 goals. Bamford will finally score one after 20 attempts. No, I think that's probably going to be 3-all. I think 3-all.
3-all.
3.
I'm going to go 3-2.
Realistic.
To West Ham. I think they'll win it 3-2.
We just know there's going to be goals. Like if Leeds are playing, there's going to be goals, and especially with West Ham as well, with Antonio back.
Exactly. Go on, Jake. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go a little out here, and I'm gonna say, because I'm anticipating a very exciting, very attacking game, but I just don't But I just have feel like there's gonna be a madness, and it's not. It can be like the most dullest game of the weekend. And I'm gonna say like it's like either 1-0 or 0-0.
Oh my god!
And it's been sitting. Everyone's building up like it's gonna be so great. And it's gonna be so dead. So I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna say 0-0.
Boring.
You never know though. You know. It's
Yeah,
always
no,
got
Exactly.
it could be.
Have you not watched football before? God.
All right, well, that's it. That's it for this episode. All right, well, yeah, I think we've gone over a little bit, but been great as always. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
All right, catch you later. Peace.
Bye, guys.